Hi, Vanell here with Dr. Eric Winston, who I met at AOF this past month.
Right.
And I didn't get a chance to interview him there, but coincidentally, I live in North Carolina and he's back here for a school reunion. So I said, let's get together and do your interview here. So here we are.
Right.
During a hurricane.
Thank you.
Glad you could make it.
Glad to be here.
So we're here to talk about your documentary, Taking Israel. And I got to see the teaser trailer for it.
Right.
And I absolutely love the concept of it. So I'm going to let you talk about the concept of it.
Right. Okay. Well, Taking Israel is a documentary that gives an account of over 150 African American students that went to Israel between 1988 and 2002. And these students spent roughly 3 months in Israel, 2.5 to 3 months in Israel, and they worked on a kibbutz, which is a commune of kind of a farm collective. And they also conducted a summer camp experience for youth in the town of Holon, which is a suburb of Tel Aviv, in the Lazarus Community Center there. And then the last phase of the program that the students had was at Hebrew University in Jerusalem, where they took regular academic classes and things like that so they could get credit during the summer. We probably sent about 10 to 15 students a year on that experience. The film allows them to tell about their experience, and it also allows the Israelis to tell the experience that they had with the students who came over.
Okay, so my question is, how did the idea for this come up?
Well, I had worked at Wilberforce University in Ohio, which Wilberforce, by the way, is arguably the oldest historically black college in the country, founded in 1856, before the end of slavery. I had served Wilberforce as vice president for 25 years, and when I got ready to finally retire, because I retired from Wilberforce and then went to work at another place for Columbia College, Chicago. But when I got ready to retire, I started thinking, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I said, well, maybe I'll make a documentary about that experience that the students had. And sure enough, I talked to a couple of people and was able to round up some funding, and happened to talk to a wonderful young man who's a graduate of Columbia College in film. And he said that he would help out, and so we laid out a plan and decided to interview a bunch of former participants, which we did, and then we went to Israel and traveled all over Israel, interviewing people that had been a part of the program, just to kind of get a feel for what was going on. But now I've got this documentary. The correct title, of course, is Taking Israel, a journey of African American students.
Okay, wow. So was that your first time going to Israel?
Oh, no. Now, interestingly enough, the program that was conducted by Wilberforce University, I was very much involved in the beginning of that program and in the conduct of the program throughout the 15 years. So when we went to Israel for the shoot to take the former participants back, that was my 50th trip to Israel. I wore out 2 passports.
So, in interviewing these students, what do you think is the one thing that most of them took away from the experience?
Well, I think that these students fully understood the circumstances of the Israelis with regard to where they were located in the Middle East, and some of the issues that they had to deal with regard to security. But they also had a chance to meet with the Arab community, both the Israeli Arab community and some Arabs in the West Bank of Israel, of the country. And so I think that these students had an appreciation and certainly had empathy and sympathy with regard to the Arab community, and they looked upon their plight in the same way as they saw the African American plight here in the country. But they also, because they were able to spend time with the Israelis, they understood that within the context of Israel versus where it's located, that those people had to clearly have real security measures in order to maintain their safety. Then when they looked in the country with regard to Israel but with regard to the Arabs, then they said, well, maybe we need to have some changes here with regard to the way the country deals with the Arab population. So I mean, they saw all that, but I don't think that the majority of the students came away with any animosity or anything like that. That it was a learning experience for them, and they knew when they were there that they were just there to observe. This was the first time that any of these students had an opportunity to go out of the country. Okay, so that was in itself a tremendous opportunity and learning experience for them. One of the things that I heard from these students throughout the interviews, and I've heard from the students who participated that not in the film over the years, is that it was the first time that they ever found themselves being referred to as Americans as opposed to African Americans or Black Americans, because over there the folks on the kibbutz would say the Americans. They didn't say the Black Americans or the African Americans. They said Americans, of course.
Right. So having these students go to Israel and experience the things they did, how do you think, coming back to the United States, that it changed their life, whether in what they chose to do with their lives or...
Well, that's an interesting question that you asked that, because every one of the students will tell you that experience changed their lives. One young lady who actually went back with us and was interviewed, Kathleen Drummond, she was so moved by her experience that when she graduated, she actually became a teacher internationally and decided to go back to the Middle East to teach English to in I think it was Bahrain. She went back because the experience that she had was so fulfilling that she wanted to go ahead and experience more of it. One of the things that you learn is that if you travel internationally, you find that your horizons are opened, and you don't think the same way that you did prior to that, because you'll see, number one, you see that everything, everybody in the world is the same. It's just that their locations are different. And I always say that one of my favorite sayings is that as I've traveled internationally, and I think the students have traveled, the one thing about mothers all over the world, they don't want their kids to go to war. And you see that when you travel. It's one of the benefits of traveling. And plus you see the commonality, as I said earlier, among people. I've seen irascible people in every country I've ever passed, and I can always relate them back to the one in the U.S. that I know. By the way, this was a summer experience for these students. It didn't cost them anything. So they applied to participate upon the recommendation of faculty and administration, and then they were interviewed to participate in the program, and then we had that was our selection process, and then we trained them, or we gave them, I guess we call it, prepared them to go by taking them into Ohio, into the rural part of Ohio at one of the retreats there, where there was no well, we have electricity in Israel, but I mean, we wanted them to have a real rural,
right.
Basic experience. So they they were kind of camp act experience and stuff like that, because that was for the kibbutz. Because the kibbutz at that time, 1988, the first time, was very, very basic.
So where does the project sit right now?
The project is done.
Mm-hmm.
Now you talking about the film or the project?
The film.
Oh, the film. The film is on the festival circuit, and
which it won an award at the Action on Film Festival last month.
Right. We were lucky that we were nominated for 5 awards, and we won for the director Vince Singleton, very, very nice young man. We won the best director of a documentary narrative award, and that was good. That was good for him, good for the film, and that's been wonderful to have that. But we also have the film, and one of the things that we're very interested in is screening the films to various community organizations and groups that might have interest in diversity, might have interest in cross-cultural relations and multicultural relations and things like that. And so we have 3 engagements that are now being put together. One in Sarasota, Florida, one in Indianapolis, Indiana, and one in Dayton, Ohio. And then we are also trying to get other screenings with various organizations so that we can get to promote the film that way.
And you just had a screening in Chicago?
Yes, we had a wonderful screening in Chicago at the Chicago History Museum.
Wow.
And that one was very, very good. In fact, 2 ladies came, a mother and a daughter came to that one, and they were so impressed with the film that the daughter asked if she could contact her uncle who was in Florida. She contacted him, he contacted me, and the next thing I know, February the 23rd, we're going to be in Sarasota, Florida with this film for some big event that he's putting together specifically for the film. So that's good. I'd really like for young people to see this film. And I'm interested in, one group that I'm interested in getting to see this film is the National Association of Independent Schools. These are all the private schools in the country, because I've been told that they invite in speakers and films to have discussions with their students. So I'm hoping that they will embrace the film, and we're putting information on their website and kind of beating the bushes to get them to maybe spread the word about the film and see if we can get some screenings for them. And then public schools, we'd love to be able to screen for public schools and things like that. And we're not trying to make money, because documentaries don't make money unless you're one of the big documentary filmmakers like Michael Moore, somebody like that whose films grows millions of dollars and stuff. And now we want this film to be seen, and we want the film to be talked about, and for young people to get the lessons that have been learned from being in another country and things like that. It's a lot of interesting things that these young people have to say about their experiences. It's interesting.
Yeah, just even watching the trailer and seeing how emotional some of
one of the aspects of the film is real good with one of the young men, Chip Moore he's out in California now. He when he got to the kibbutz and they were handing out work assignments, they told him that he would be working in the cotton field. And he said, what?
No.
I'm going to be working in the cotton field? He said, I can't call my parents and tell them that I came to Israel to work in the cotton field.
No.
And the gentleman, Georg, who was the work supervisor on the kibbutz, thought he couldn't understand that. He thought, because he said on the kibbutz working in the cotton field was a honor, and this young man, so they worked that out,
right?
And he didn't do that, but they became very good friends. And in Giora, there's a good back and forth about that particular incident. And then there's another one with a young man in the film, John Ransom, who was working in the kibbutz. Ramat Menashe up near Haifa has a water meter factory. They export water meters all over the world. You know, Israelis are the best in terms of irrigating, because they took that whole desert and irrigated it, and they got best fruit and with all that stuff. So John was working in the the water meter factory. And John was a business student at Wilberforce, and so he got in one section of the water meter factory, and he came up with all these ideas about how they could make changes and improve the operation. And he told one of the supervisors that, and the supervisor went to one of the top dogs, and eventually John got transferred out of there because they didn't want him giving them any ideas about it. And then he went into the next place. He went into the water meter factory. He did the same thing, and eventually they transferred him to the kitchen.
Oh, wow!
And so it's kind of.
And what is he doing now?
He's a banker. Believe it or not. And the first young man, the non-cotton picking guy, he is a what do you call it? He has a company of his own in Israel, in California, and they plan dinner meals in restaurants for and it's quite lucrative. I guess it is. He's been in that business now for a long time. His horizons were broadened because his wife is Jewish, and so that was an interesting.
That was a nice way to put that.
Yeah,
his horizons were broadened.
His horizons were broadened. Well, his horizons were broadened. I mean,
he came home with a wife. So, if anyone wants to get in contact with you about screening the film or anything, how would they do that? Well,
they just contact me by my email, ericwinsto@aol.com, ERICWINSTO@aol.com.
Okay. And website up or
no, it's not. But we have a Facebook page though.
Okay.
So they could like the Facebook page, and of course we're putting things on there. We'll put this interview on there, and we have other things that we're doing that will enhance the Facebook page. The trailer for the film is on both the website, on Facebook, and on YouTube. On the YouTube is Taking Israel, and on Facebook you find it by Facebook, YouTube, Taking Israel, and that's how you can find out the Facebook page.
Okay.
So we've got information about the award and some of the other things that are happening that we're working with the film, just to keep the word going. That's it.
So check out the Facebook, check out the YouTube, Taking Israel. Let them know where you want to see it, and we'll try to get it there.
Well, we appreciate that.
It's an amazing project. It's an amazing film.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, I'm glad I got to
appreciate
see you.
It. Yes.
Thank you,
Right.
and thank you.